So the battle for Bengal has now shifted from the ballot box to the courtroom. So from polling booths to counting tables, and right at the center of this latest storm is the Supreme Court of India, which is set to hear a high-stakes plea by the Trinamool Congress. So just 48 hours before result day, questions are being raised by the Trinamool Congress over who controls the entire counting process. And the core of the legal challenge of the Trinamool Congress is the fact that the Election Commission directed that at least one counting supervisor or assistant should be at every table, and this person should be a central government or PSU employee. So this is a move that the TMC is calling illegal. TMC is also calling this arbitrary and also without any jurisdiction. The party argues that this deviates from precedent and has not been implemented in other states that went to polls alongside the state of Bengal. My colleague Dipankar is with us. Dipankar, the Supreme Court is set to take the plea up. What's the latest that you're tracking?
Well, yes, the Supreme Court will now shortly assemble just in a while and take up this petition that has been filed by the All India Trinamool Congress, challenging the notification, challenging the High Court order, the order that was passed by the Calcutta High Court, where they had dismissed their petition, and now they have approached the Supreme Court where they are challenging that order, and they are alleged that the notification that has been passed by the additional CEO in Bengal is not something that is that is in consonance with the law. It raises apprehension of bias. There has been no precedent regarding this, and none of the other states that are going to that have gone into election are following this this process that has been put up.
When is the plea likely to be taken up?
Well, the bench is to be assembled at 10:30. There is the bench will assemble at 10:30, and then within a short span of time, within 15-20 minutes, the bench will take up this matter that has been filed by the All India Trinamool Congress.
All right. Can you also tell us about the composition of the bench?
Well, the bench is being headed by Justice P.S. Narasimha, and the bench is also headed by Justice Joy Malia Bagchi, who will be hearing this petition where the All India Trinamool Congress has raised apprehension of bias regarding the notification that has been passed out by the additional CEO in this entire case.
All right. So the hearing has just started. We'll get you minute-by-minute updates. So right now, we are getting latest information from the Supreme Court. Our colleagues are tracking all the developments live. The bench has assembled and the hearing has started, is what I'm hearing. What we're getting to know. Okay, let me just tell you about all the information that's coming in. So this was case number 2. The SC bench has assembled, and now Kapil Sibal, who's arguing for Trinamool Congress, has said that we got to know about this only on the 29th. They say that they had an apprehension that there will be trouble in the booth. Micro observers are already there who are central government employees. So why this order? So, okay, Dipankar, take us through everything that's happening in the court. The hearing has begun. Before that, let's also tell our viewers quickly about what is the Trinamool Congress is charged. So here we're going to break down what the EC's position and the rationale has been and what the Trinamool Congress has been saying, even as the hearing begins in the top court of the country. So the Trinamool Congress is charged this, viewers, that the directive issued by the EC was without any jurisdiction, to which the EC's rationale is that this is legal and it is under a particular law. TMC also says that central and PSU staff may be influenced, to which the EC's rationale is that there is no evidence backing these particular charges or concerns of the TMC. TMC is also raising concerns over the fairness of the entire counting process, to which the EC's rationale is that this directive ensures neutrality in the counting process. So we are seeing the back and forth that has come in. Remember, this case had also come up in the High Court and was also dismissed by the High Court. So what's going to happen in the Supreme Court becomes extremely important. And the TMC's charge is also this, that the timing raises suspicion right before counting, to which the EC's rationale is this, that the decision was communicated well in advance. Let's go back to Dipankar, who's joining us live from the Supreme Court, getting us minute-by-minute updates of the hearing that is underway. Once again, Dipankar, for viewers joining us on this broadcast, tell us about the arguments that are being made on the part of the TMC.
Well, yes, senior advocate Kapil Sibal, who is appearing for the TMC, has now began his argument where he has raised the contention that the micro observers had already been appointed, who are the central government employees, and when the micro observers are there, then what is the need of additional supervisors, additional observers being appointed to each and every counting table, pointing out that this raises an apprehension of bias as the central government employees are already there and another central government employee will be coming in at each and every counting table. That raises an apprehension of bias. This is what Kapil Sibal has been telling the Supreme Court, the bench of Justice Joy Malia Bagchi and Justice P.S. Narasimha. Remember, the TMC in its petition has also raised this contention that it raises an apprehension of bias when two people who are under the control of the central government, who work under the central government, will be appointed as an observer to the counting table. That raises an apprehension of bias in the minds of the people, and that too when there is no state person who's being appointed over there to counterbalance this entire thing. So these are the arguments that are being raised by Kapil Sibal before the bench, who's currently underway hearing this AITC petition.
And my colleague Rajesh is also with us now. Remember, this hearing is happening in the Supreme Court at a time when their repolling has been ordered in 15 booths, and repolling is also underway in two constituencies in South 24 Paraganas. One is in Magrahat Paschim and the other is in Diamond Harbour. So 15 booths, repolling is underway. We are also going across to Rajesh as he gets us the updates from the ground, and we've seen how the battle has been playing out in the strong rooms. Charges, counter charges, action playing out. So from the Supreme Court to the ground to the strong rooms, the battle for Bengal is only escalating. In the latest, let's also ask Rajesh. Rajesh, what's happening when it comes to the repolling? Because the TMC in the Supreme Court is questioning the directive of the EC. Here they are raising questions on why should there be central government employees as counting supervisors.
Well, TMC had approached Apex Court of India challenging the previous order passed by Calcutta High Court in connection with this petition, which was earlier filed by Trinamool Congress MP Mamata Banerjee. And TMC had approached challenging the direction passed by Election Commission of India, because Election Commission had decided to deploy all the central government employees in the counting center as counting supervisor. But TMC challenged the decision, saying that
I apologize for interjecting, but this is a breaking news broadcast, viewers, and we are going to get you minute-by-minute updates from the Supreme Court. Going across quickly to Dipankar, who's tracking more updates. So the Trinamool Congress's argument, viewers, is this, that the TMC is now asking why employees of state government or state-owned public sector undertakings are not appointed as counting supervisors. The directive lacks jurisdiction and deviated from the ECI's own handbook, which does not mandate central government personnel for such role. There are some oral remarks that have also been made. What did the Supreme Court tell Kapil Sibal? To get the latest, let's go across to Dipankar. Dipankar, take us through the latest.
Well, yes, there were 4 points that have been raised by Kapil Sibal towards the arguments that he was making before the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court in its oral remarks has said that all these may be central government employees, but now they are under ECI. Why you have apprehension? Also, your counting agents will be there, not only your party, but all the parties. Supreme Court has also gone on to say that prima facie, we cannot say there is any problem with this decision. So the Supreme Court has very categorically gone on to say that...
Dipankar, if the Supreme Court right now in its oral remarks has said prima facie we cannot say there is any problem with this decision, what does it mean? What is the Trinamool Congress now looking at? Where are we, where is this case heading currently?
Well, as of now, the Supreme Court is continuing to hear this matter, but these remarks that have been made, where the Supreme Court has very categorically gone on to say that prima facie they don't find any kind of flaw with the decision of the with the decision of the additional CEO issuing a notification and appointing officers. That shows that the matter is going towards the Election Commission of India. The arguments that are being made are not in favor of the All India Trinamool Congress, but we we will have to wait and watch as to what counter arguments are made by Kapil Sibal, who's heading the arguments of the All India Trinamool Congress, and we'll have to wait and watch as to what happens further in this argument.
In oral remarks again, the Supreme Court is also asking Kapil Sibal, and like viewers, I'm telling you, this is breaking news broadcast, so we're going to constantly track what our reporters are telling us. We are getting updates on our phones here. So the Supreme Court right now, this is the latest update, and Dipankar delved more on this. The Supreme Court has also asked Kapil Sibal, why do you have this perception that employees of the state government have different kind of intelligence? Because the contention that has been raised by Kapil Sibal in the Supreme Court is the fact that this is a directive by the EC that lacks jurisdiction and deviates from the EC's own handbook, which does not mandate central government personnel for such role, for which prima facie the Supreme Court in oral remarks has said that we cannot say there is a problem with this particular decision of the EC, and all these may be central government employees, but now they're under the ECI. So why do you even have such apprehensions? Dipankar, what more, is the Supreme Court trying to get out from Kapil Sibal while the arguments currently are being made questioning the ECI's very decision to appoint employees of central government as counting supervisors?
Well, remember that All India Trinamool Congress in its petition before the Supreme Court has very categorically gone on to say that there is an apprehension of bias when additional observers will be appointed who are working under the central government or under the PSUs. So that apprehension of bias was raised originally by the All India Trinamool Congress, and now the Supreme Court has gone on to say that why do you think that the state government employees who will be, who you are asking, who the All India Trinamool Congress is asking to be appointed over there, why do they have a different intelligence? So actually the court is trying to find out as to why this apprehension of bias is being raised. Why is there a bias? Why is there this apprehension in the mind of All India Trinamool Congress that if the people of central government, if the people of PSUs are made additional observers over there at each and every counting table over there in West Bengal, then why is there apprehension of bias in the minds of All India Trinamool Congress? That is the main thing, that is the underlying thing that the
bias, if the larger focus is on ensuring neutrality at every level. And as we tell you about what's happening in the Supreme Court, let's also tell our viewers about what's happening on the ground. Repolling underway after there were allegations of malpractice. There's repolling underway in 15 booths. At the same time, there are also allegations being raised about the strong rooms. In the latest, the Trinamool Congress has also put out a video where they are saying that some of the CCTVs at one particular government school in the area of Barasat were shot. And you've been seeing the allegations that have come in from Mamata Banerjee saying that there could be EVM manipulation. So amid all of this, this hearing is very crucial. Rajesh, coming to you, what's happening when it comes to the repolling? Is everything on the ground, now that there's repolling, is everything on the ground going on smoothly?
Yes, repoll is going on smoothly in Diamond Harbour and Mogra West Assembly constituency both right now, and we are in Diamond Harbour Assembly constituency where repolling is being conducted in 4 booths right now, and we can see the BJP candidate. The BJP candidate is doing rounds in every booth where repolling is being conducted right now. And when we spoke to them, he alleged that TMC goons threatened the local people, the local voters yesterday, just ahead of this repolling. And he also alleged that the local voters were influenced by TMC people and money was distributed among local voters to influence the voters just before this repoll. And would like to speak to the BJP candidate from Diamond Harbour constituency once again.
Right.
आप बोल रहे थे कि कल पैसा बांट दिया गया, वोटरों के बीच में पैसा दिया गया और फिर से धमकाया गया लोगों को।
গতকাল যখনই এই 4টে বুথের উপরে রিপোল হওয়ার জন্য সিদ্ধান্ত গৃহীত হয়েছিল সেই সময়
Very serious allegations being made by the BJP candidate currently. I'm trying to pick up from what he's saying in Bangla. What we're trying to understand is the allegation that has been made by the BJP is that even last night there was an attempt to intimidate voters in this particular area, especially in the booths where repolling has been ordered. But quickly, let's go back to Dipankar, who's tracking the updates from the Supreme Court. Observations coming in from Justice Bagchi. Please take us through the latest. What I'm gathering is that the EC Council has also weighed weighed in, and the EC Council has said that this is a misplaced petition. Returning officers in this particular case are from the state government itself, and the ECI has also said that the plea is based purely on apprehension without evidence of prejudice, and the decision was taken to ensure that there is transparency and integrity in the counting process. Dipankar, what's the latest coming in from the court?
Well, yes, the ECI has also, the council representing the Election Commission of India has also rebutted the arguments of Kapil Sibal and has said that this entire petition that was filed before the Supreme Court is a misplaced petition. And remember, the Honorable High Court has also dismissed this petition on the ground that there was no evidence
I beg
to
your pardon,
allay
something the SC is pronouncing its order, and we have to give our viewers the latest update that's coming in from the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court, while announcing its order, viewers, has said that it will not interfere with the High Court order. So another setback coming in from the Trinamool Congress. While pronouncing the order, the Supreme Court has refused to interfere with the High Court order. That's the big breaking news update coming in. It's a setback for the Trinamool Congress. So from setback in the High Court to setback in the Supreme Court of India, it's a big blow to the TMC. And right now, the Supreme Court has said no further order required other than recording statement of the ECI dated April the 13th, and that letter shall be implemented in letter and spirit. Huge development coming in. Supreme Court is refusing to interfere with the High Court's order, and there are going to be central government employees inside counting centers. So the ECI here gets another boost. So in the latest showdown between the EC and the and the Trinamool Congress ahead of counting day, it's another setback coming in from the TMC. The Supreme Court has refused. The Supreme Court has refused to interfere with the HC order. Going back to Dipankar. Dipankar, another setback from the Calcutta High Court to the Supreme Court of India. What are the implications? Quickly break it down for our viewers.
Well, yes, it is a big blow to the TMC, where the Supreme Court has now refused to delve into the merits of the entire case that was filed before the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has directly gone on to say that this letter that was in contention before the Supreme Court has to be implemented in letter and spirit. This is a big blowback that has come in. There's a big setback for the TMC, who was appearing before the Supreme Court and arguing that this the apprehension that were raised by the TMC counsel, Kapil Sibal, who was here arguing the matter, all those have been refuted, and the Election Commission's argument have also been taken into consideration that the petition that was filed before the court was without any substantial evidence to allay the apprehensions. The court has also gone on to uphold the appointment of these government employees as observers on each and every counting table, and the court has very well categorically said that the letter dated April 13 should be implemented in letter as well as in spirit. So this is the big breaking news that has been coming in. It is a huge setback for the TMC leader.
The Trinamool Congress ahead of counting day and the Supreme Court order. The focus is on what the Supreme Court has said. Let's break down the implications, for which we also have Ridhita joining us on this broadcast. We're breaking the story straight from the national capital, from the Supreme Court of India, which has refused to interfere. The Supreme Court has said that we will not go into the merits of the Trinamool Congress's petition. Quickly doing a recap of what happened in the court in the last few minutes. So the Supreme Court for now has refused to go into the merits of the Trinamool Congress's petition. What did the Supreme Court say? The Supreme Court currently is upholding the ECI's decision to appoint only central government and central PSU employees as counting supervisors, and this was the contention of the Trinamool Congress, where they raised questions. The Supreme Court also asked some very valid questions to the council. Kapil Sibal was arguing for the Trinamool Congress, and the Supreme Court asked, why do you have these apprehensions that central government employees will have any kind of different kind of intelligence from that of the state government employees? To which the ECI, while also putting forth its argument, said that the contentions put forth by the TMC in its petition in the first place are misplaced because the returning officers are from the state government. Ridhita, another setback for the Trinamool Congress. Has anyone from the TMC spoken to you after this big breaking news update that's coming in from the Supreme Court?
Well, absolutely, we see this is a big setback for the Trinamool Congress, but as of now, there has not been any official statement that has been coming from the Trinamool Congress as of now, but we are sure to get some reactions as the development continues through the day, because this has just come from the Supreme Court. So the party is yet to reply on this, on any official statement that is to be instilled in this matter. The court, the Trinamool Congress has appeared before the court earlier. We have also seen Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee appearing before the court, the tallest court of India. But as of now, on this very big decision, on this big setback that the Trinamool Congress have faced ahead of the counting days, just 2 days ahead of the counting days, there has been no official note that has been given by the Trinamool Congress party as of now.
Right, and we are also getting more updates from the court. So we are getting to know right now that the Supreme Court also took note of what the ECI said. The ECI statement was this, that returning officer is from has overarching power, and the returning officer in Bengal elections is from the state government cadre. So yes, another setback for the Trinamool Congress. Dipankar, we're standing by for a reaction from the Trinamool Congress, but also give us a quick overview of how this particular case played out from the Calcutta High Court to the Supreme Court. The hearing went on for a few minutes, in which the counsel for the Trinamool Congress, senior advocate Kapil Sibbal, put out many apprehensions. Take us through what the Trinamool Congress's counsel said. Take us through the questions that were raised by the judges and also the arguments placed by the ECI.
Well, yes, the Supreme Court was hearing this matter after the Delhi High Court had dismissed the petition, and Kapil Sibbal, who was appearing for the TMC, had categorically put on 4 points, raising apprehensions, and had very categorically gone on to say that the additional CEO who had issued this notification did not have the power, did not have the jurisdiction to do so, and by appointing people from the central government and from the PSUs, there is an apprehension of bias that is there in the minds of the people, and that the sanctity of the counting process will get affected. This was the argument that was raised by Kapil Sibbal. However, on countering these arguments, the Election Commission of India, the Council for Election Commission of India, argued that this is a misplaced petition that has been filed before the Supreme Court, and that they have no substantial evidence to back these apprehensions that are being raised by the TMC leaders, that there will be certain kind of the sanctity of the counting process will be in question. So these were the arguments that were made.
I apologize for interjecting. Let me bring in our legal editor Harish, who's with us. He was in the Supreme Court. He was tracking all those developments. Harish, a huge setback for the Trinamool Congress. The Supreme Court has refused to interfere with the directive of the ECI, where the ECI has said central government employees will be counting observers in the state of West Bengal. The TMC raised multiple apprehensions, but right now, from the Calcutta High Court to the Supreme Court, a big setback for the TMC.
Yes, that's right. The Supreme Court has refused to entertain the petition filed by the Trinamool Congress challenging the Election Commission of India roping in just central government employees and public sector undertakings of central government as counting supervisors, and ignoring the state government employees. They had said that Kapil Sibbal, arguing for the TMC, had even said that this central government has its allegiance to the employees have allegiance to the central government. Therefore, there could be a bias, and that will affect the level playing field. At this juncture, Election Commission of India submitting that, but the returning officers are predominantly from the state government, and they have the overarching powers. Remember, exactly this is what the High Court had said while dismissing the TMC petition.
Exactly.
The High Court had said that the discretion is with the Election Commission of India. It is for them, it is their prerogative to choose state government employees or the central government employees. This is exactly what the Supreme Court said.
Absolutely.
Supreme
So
Court
another blow for the Trinamool Congress ahead of counting day, but the battle now is playing out from the strong rooms to the courtrooms to also the polling booths. We're going to keep our focus on this story because what the Supreme Court has done right now has huge implications. My colleague Amita will take you through that. Taking a short break, we'll be back with more news and updates.